I looked around me and I see all the the paraphernalia behind me. There's no trophies behind you guys. It just made me smile that there's no trophies there.
We all wanted Ange to almost be the one. Yeah. As time has gone on, for me, he's just shown that he's not fit for this job, in my opinion.
That is a mentality thing. That's not only Ange's issue, it's your lot's issue.
When defeat comes and criticism comes, he doesn't know how to deal with it. He cannot deal with it, can't cope.
The audacity of cupping your ear when you are 14th on the table and you are, you could be on your 16th loss is outrageous.
He not only cups his ear, it's the wave that follows afterwards.
Wait.
There's a wave afterwards, and I'm like, that's the wave you're going to be doing at Brisbane Airport in a few weeks. So be careful.
I don't think you'll like what I'll say, but my preferred choice would always be to have Poch back.
Oh my days.
It's like going back
No, we need to move forward, Abby.
It's like going back to your first boyfriend. Last night, I felt that there was a bit of a maturity about Maresca, and I was really pleased to see that he's gone, here I'm going to do, I'm going to be stubborn, sit in, break us down if you can. And it turned out that it was a bold decision.
A lot of teams have heritage positions. When you think about Newcastle, think about the number 9. For Chelsea, it's that centre defensive midfielder, whether it's Makelele, Essien, John Obi Mikel, N'Golo Kante, and this Matic, and this is the next kid. He's absolutely incredible. Imagine if after all of that, Ange wins you the Europa League and backs his chat. That street party in North London is going to hit.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
When does the world away?
Why are you doing this?
Hello and welcome to Inside Spurs versus Inside Chelsea for one day and one day only. Don't worry, we've got together to dissect last night's match. Me and Fuad have picked a bad week to do this one, and we're going to dissect and discuss everything that is going on with both clubs as we approach the business end of the season. I'm Abby Summers, and I'm joined by my left, broadcaster and fellow Spurs fan, Fuad Kadani. It's so nice to see you. I just wish it was under a happier circumstance, to be honest.
Yes, after that game yesterday, same old, but we'll try and put a positive spin on it.
We'll try. I mean, I don't know how we're going to do that, but we'll give it a go. Also joining us on the Chelsea end is former Chelsea and Spurs defender Jason Cundy. And, of course, Kwaku Afari joins us as well. It's so nice to see you all.
Do you know what, right? I looked around me and I see all the paraphernalia behind me. There's no trophies behind you guys. It just made me smile that there's no trophies there. They can't even put a cup in there for you.
We've got cups here. That's all that matters. We've got cups here.
Lads, let's just not beat around the bush then, shall we? Should we just get straight into last night? Fuad?
Kind of feels like the same old thing, different season, doesn't it? I mean, games against Chelsea, I feel like for Spurs fans have never been an enjoyable or memorable trip. I think we've beat them 6 times only during the entire Premier League tenure. I think especially at Stamford Bridge. I think Dele Alli, maybe that time we scored a back post header. One win we have there. So Ange is now, his 4th game against Chelsea as well, that he's lost in a row. It's just, I'd love to sit here and pretend to be surprised, but I'm not. But the thing for me was how poor kind of both teams were, in all honesty. I feel like in this game there's always a little bit of edge, a little bit of bite to it, but
there's nothing.
Even yesterday, it just seemed like it was lacking that a little bit, and kind of a few shades of Battle of the Bridge when Romero squared up to 1 or 2 players, but lacking quality, lacking fight. I think it's kind of the story of the 2 teams this season, in all honesty.
100%. Jace, obviously you were there. I heard you when you bounced into the studio on Sportsbar last night. What was your thoughts on the game?
Kind of agree with Ferd there. The fact that we're looking at 2 of the teams. This is one of the games that every Chelsea fan and Spurs fan look forward to when we play in Spurs home and away, right? And the atmosphere was always going to be crackling. But you're looking at 2 sides that are struggling to be at the levels that we've seen in the past. It's all about the 3 points last night. I mean, we were better than you. I think we deserved to win the game. We had better chances. Fine. But I felt that I've seen these games before, and there's been an edge, there's been a bite, there's been quality. I felt the game wasn't particularly great. We were better. But I think you're looking at 2 sides that really are trying to get back to the levels that we saw 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah. Did you echo the thoughts of the rest of us?
The game was lacking quality. Obviously, love beating Spurs, and it happens so often that it just becomes regular.
It's nasty, isn't it?
It's just. But the thing is, we've been poor over the last couple of seasons, but yet we've still done the double overview the last 2 years. And again, there's not too much solace to take from it as a Chelsea fan because you have been so poor. But what I really did like from Chelsea's point of view is how we managed the game. We've not had many 1-0 victories, and that's kind of the heritage of Chelsea ever since the money came in 25 years ago. So to see us win in that manner gave me some confidence going forward because we actually managed the game. But in terms of quality, I echo both your sentiments. There wasn't much quality in it. We've seen games between these two sides that have had 4, 5, 6, 7 world-class players on the pitch. I think maybe at a push, 2 world-class players on the pitch last night. And so I'm happy with the 3 points, but it's bigger and there's bigger and better things on the horizon for Chelsea. I don't know about Spurs though.
I'm just going to try and bat these comments away. Just try and bat them away. It's only the first 5 minutes into the show. Just be the ultimate professional. Right, let's talk about Ange then, because he was unhappy with Sarr's goal being ruled out after the VAR check. Clear and obvious. He said they didn't see it on the first replay. What does that suggest to you? I feel like it is a foul, but I don't understand that it takes 6 minutes and the ref has had to watch that 8, 9, 10 times to come to a decision, because clearly he then didn't think it was clear and obvious.
Yeah, I feel like they were looking for something else potentially within that, maybe a further booking, a red card or something like that, because it was a high challenge. So I think maybe the referee might have been looking at another angle for that, but it seemed pretty clear and obvious that there was contact made and it should have been given as a foul. But the fact that Ange, for me, is almost trying to make a bigger meal out of it and kind of making an issue of the time. I think the thing with VAR is we've always said we'd rather have the right decision being made. Of course, we'd prefer it to be done quicker, but as long as the kind of right decision is drawn at the end, that's all you can ask for. Of course, we were kind of on the receiving end of it, so it's never going to be enjoyable, but I think the right decision was made there to deny a great goal, unfortunately.
It's not the first time he's come out and said something about VAR.
No,
he's quite vocal about that.
Yeah.
And I think it just echoes what we all kind of feel about it, but the truth is, I think looking at it, I was in the gantry watching, I had the monitor in front of me. The more you look at it, I think the referee starts to doubt himself. What I felt also was part of that was the McAllister challenge, but the Tarkowski put in him the night before. And I felt that there was a little bit of that going on. We don't want to make the same mistake as we did yesterday. I feel that the refs must have that in the back of their mind. The reason he looked at it so much, I think, is because they've considered a red card.
Yeah, you said this to me before. You think it is potentially an orange.
It's not a red, but it's on that area. They don't want to make that mistake, and I felt they looked at it so many times. And I wonder, the more you look at something, if you haven't made your mind up instantly, I think it starts to become a bit blurred. For me, it's a foul. It's a yellow card. Move on. But I felt the Tarkowski challenge might well have clouded what they were looking at, and they didn't want to make the same mistake because the media pressure on the back of that challenge would have been loud in their ears as they were watching that, I feel.
And we see that sometimes as well, where a challenge will happen in another game and it almost sets the precedent for the weekend or the next 2 weekends. I think that Tarkowski challenge was an example of that, basically.
I also think, firstly, I agree with Ange, and he has been consistent. I don't agree with many things that Ange says, but I think VAR, and last night was an indictment of it, it's finding reasons to take goals away from football matches, which makes a less enjoyable product. People talk about football being in the mud at the moment. It's because every goal that's scored, you're trying to find a reason to disallow a goal. I personally think football's better without VAR, but they got to the right decision ultimately, and that's what people want. I also think that there's a misnomer in terms of how long it took. He was only at the screen for about 90 seconds, but it was the time between when the goal was scored and when kickoff or when the play restarted. That's what took about 5 or 6 minutes. And so I think people's biggest issue last night was the fact that we all saw it straight away on TV that it was a foul. So the fact that it took the referee that long to make a decision...
No, you said it's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. It is a long time.
It's a long time to look at one incident.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. But I think that is what the argument is. If it is clear and obvious, you should only really have to look at something once or twice, not the amount of time. Even if it's 90 seconds, you looked at that.
That's what I mean. I feel that they were looking at other things. I don't think it was just that. I think they were looking... Is it a red card? I think that was what was going through. And then they started forwarding it on. And as I'm watching, I'm thinking, they're now looking for offside. Yeah. They're not going to give this.
Yeah.
There was a lot... VAR... It's still got its issues. There's no question about it. It's still got its issues.
It's the way it's used, isn't it? That's the main issue, I think it is. But
can you imagine the pressure after what happened with Tarkowski? That it's a potentially... Well, it would have been a game-changing decision. The moment it hinges here.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the pressure they must be under? Hearing voices here. Is it a red card? Is it yellow? Is it a foul? The goal stands. All of a sudden, there's a lot going on. the pressure they must be under
And I
must
think
be
any
intense.
time they go to the screen, it's almost like they have to justify it. I feel like by going to the screen and then looking for something, essentially to be like, I've been told to go to the screen, so now I need to find something, even if it's something minuscule, whether I play it forward or go backwards, and it might slow the game down. But I think as long as the right decision is come to at the end of it, it's part and parcel of the game now. I feel like.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
I'm not a fan of it, not one bit. We'll talk about Spurs first then, because it's a big discussion on that.
Should we leave? Should we come back? I want to stay.
We always love we love to have a Chelsea fan's input when talking about Spurs. Kwaku knows. Look, it's 16 defeats in 30 league games this season. It's 20 across all comps. I mean, I don't really know what to say to you as a fellow Spurs fan. I mean, I have been very much Ange, and I've really tried against everyone's better judgment. I've really tried. I tried to be patient. I said, let's try and trust the process. I said, let's get the players back, then I'll make a decision on it. There are no more excuses now, and we've gone so far away from whatever Ange ball was. I mean, do we sack him now before Thursday? Do we just let the season carry out? I mean, what do you think?
I mean, because of the situation of the Europa League, you kind of can't sack him, because we've been in this situation before with Jose Mourinho. Let's not forget where we sacked him 6 days before a cup final.
That was a good decision.
We saw how that turned out. And I think the thing with all the frustration with Spurs fans is, I think we all wanted Ange to almost be the one.
Yeah.
After going through the kind of cycle of Nuno, Conte, Jose, Pochettino, you just thought, all right, you know what? We finally got a manager who wants to be here, who's buying into it. He's playing attacking football. We're going to give him the time. We're going to give him everything. And as time has gone on, for me, he's just shown that he's not fit for this job, in my opinion. I think in terms of adaptability, I think taking criticism, flexibility in your tactics, he hasn't shown it. I think especially you always see the true colours of a manager when the back is against the wall.
His back's been against the wall for a long time.
Whether that's injuries, whether that's players losing form, how do you adapt? How do you change? How do you tweak things? And Ange hasn't been able to do that. Time and time again, we saw it last season when we went through our initial honeymoon period at the start. And the Chelsea game, funnily enough, last year was actually the first red flag. When we were 9 men down and he was playing that halfway line, high line, and this is how we live and die by. That should have been the moment Spurs fans realised, oh, hold on. We might have a madman here.
But do you know what happened in that situation? You got credit for losing 4-1. I remember coming into work the next day and everyone celebrating the fact that Spurs lost 4-1 in the London derby.
Ridiculous.
And that is a mentality thing. That's not only Ange's issue, it's your lot's issue. Towards the back end of the season, you lot wanted to lose a Premier League match to stop Arsenal winning the league.
Whoa.
And so
you see right there, there's bigger things at hand there.
When you talk about Spurs,
there's bigger things at play right there.
There are bigger things at play. And the thing is, Ange is not the only issue at Spurs, right?
Yeah.
The Daniel Levy and the process are correct. I agree with that. But Spurs' mentality, Spurs fans' mentality, does not help us well. When I saw that at the end of the season, you talk about red flag being a Chelsea game. The red flag was at the end of the season where you wanted to lose a game to stop Arsenal winning the league. I thought that was absolutely insane.
No, that is just almost tribalism.
Yeah.
But even the fact that kind of Ange doesn't see where the fans were coming from in that one just kind of baffled me a little bit.
But Kwaku doesn't get where we stand.
It's just kind of tribalism, to be fair. And why would you want your
But that's where the friction started, because Ange came out and basically criticised fans for wanting you to lose. You lot had the chance of finishing the top 4 last season, and you didn't. And
guess what? It wasn't that game that ruined it. It was losing 3-0 to Fulham after. It was losing to Aston Villa. And guess who was responsible for those games? Mr. Postecoglou.
Do you know what? I don't want to...
I agree with you.
I don't want to be on here being the Ange defender, because I've criticised him, Abby, on the Goal Show multiple times. But he is also the one Spurs manager in the last 15 years that hasn't had a bona fide world-class forward at his disposal. If you look at all the previous managers, they've either had Gareth Bale or Harry Kane. He's the only manager to not have that. You were on your knees after Conte. Last season was a good season, despite the fact that you didn't have a great squad. You finished 5th, probably should have finished 4th. And so, not to defend him, I think he should go, but he's the first Spurs manager in a decade and a half that hasn't had a world-class forward.
But you can't just say you need world-class players to thrive all the time. I mean, I'm looking at Eddie Howe at Newcastle. I'm looking at Unai Emery when he came in and took over Aston Villa in 17th and where he's got them to. Sometimes it's man management. And initially, when Ange came in, he showed kind of glimpses of that. But as time has gone on, the cracks have begun to show. And for me, he hasn't been able to react or bounce back well.
I think also...
The issue as well, for me, I think, is in the market. when you look at 45 million spent on Brennan Johnson last summer, when you look at the extension of Timo Werner, when you look at kind of the panic buy of Matthias Tell in January, where it's kind of he doesn't really want to come, but we've managed to get him because other situations, but it just hasn't been very well coordinated throughout his time.
I don't think both ways though.
And I understand the board have a major part to play in it. We've, as Spurs fans, we have criticised the board relentlessly. Yeah. But for me, I'm looking at the manager and saying, what you're in control of, what are you doing with it? And I don't think he's done good enough.
I think also he has been so used throughout his career of having success.
Yeah.
It's something that's come naturally and come quite easy to him because where he's managed in Australia, Japan and Scotland, right? Now he comes down to the Premier League. We're talking levels now. We're talking levels of criticism, eyeballs on him. We're not. He's in a bubble up in Celtic, best team, the richest club in that league, and if you don't win the title, it's disaster. Yeah. Now he's come to Spurs, and he's not dealt with it. He's prickly. I don't think he deals with the media particularly well. His persona. He's got this. Win, lose or draw, he has the same body language. Yet when defeat comes and criticism comes, he doesn't know how to deal with it. He cannot deal with it. He can't cope with it. And I think that spreads through the dressing room. You know, you need someone at sometimes to deal with that. Every manager, I've seen Pep get prickly. I've seen every manager gets through it with it. But there's something about him, he doesn't quite know how to cope and deal with the criticism.
And you know, it's how the mask has dropped as well. Because if you remember last season when he came in, he was the nice guy, the bubbly guy, always talking to the media.
I don't know whether he was. I don't know whether he was.
No, but he was very, friendly with the media and very conversational. And then all of a sudden, as results started to go south, he just became this kind of prickly character, as you mentioned.
But wouldn't you become prickly? He does have to hold a lot of what's gone wrong at Tottenham. Like, there is no doubt about that. The buck will always stop with him. But your persona would change when you've lost 16 games. And
I think it's part of the problem, though. The fact that
he is part of the problem.
Because every defeat that comes, he's waiting for that criticism. You know, he's chippy. He's got to... Come on, you've got to take it. You've got to deal in front of the cameras.
He said last night that there was an agenda. He implied when he was doing his post-match interview that there was an agenda because of the cupping of the ear. And I'm not going to lie, I think the audacity of cupping your ear when you are 14th on the table and you are, you could be on your 16th loss is outrageous. He then kind of tried to say that he was cupping it so he could hear the fans celebrate. Yeah, it's a little bit wild. I don't think you should be cupping it. I think it was a little bit arrogant. Again, wait for the VAR check to be done before doing that.
I mean, nothing could be more funny than that goal being disallowed.
It was so
doing
Spurs.
All of that theatrics just for the goal to be disallowed.
I was in the gantry. I missed the whole thing. Because obviously I'm watching the monitors here, but I've not seen it yet. But I've heard plenty about it.
He not only cups his ear, it's the wave that follows afterwards. There's a wave afterwards, and I'm like, that's the wave you're going to be doing at Brisbane Airport in a few weeks. So be careful.
Well, it was because about 5 minutes before, the Spurs fans were singing "You Don't Know What You're Doing" when they subbed off Bergvall and brought on Sarr. And obviously then Sarr scores and whatever. But I just think cupping your ear, like, you can't.
But it's an indictment of where you're at as a football club, right? Because all the teams in and around you in the league table, barring Ipswich, who were in League One 2 years ago, have sacked their manager. So for you to get to this point in the season where there's 8 games left and you still haven't sacked the manager tells you that you're not acting like a big club. You need to be proactive, not reactive. When this started, that's when he should have been gone. I think about the best teams. They are proactive. In this country, you are tied to the idea of a legacy manager, a manager that we want to be at the club for 4, 5, 6 years. In Europe, when it's not working, you're gone. And at Spurs, if you're 14th in the table, you should have gone yesterday. He should have gone after that Chelsea game. He should have gone after games in December.
Yeah, but
why is he still here in April?
I don't agree with you on that at all, because I think if you have a look around November time, just after we beat City, Spurs were in and around the top 4, right? Then all the injuries happened, and there was a lot of injuries. I'm not trying to make excuses now because they're back, but when you've got 14 players that are out, and most of them are your starting team, you are going to lose games, and the manner in which we weren't losing them getting battered most of the time by 4 goals. It was like the odd goal. Yeah. So I didn't think we should sack him. I was very much, I want to stick with Ange and see that when he comes back, if we can get back to that level of where we were before that. We weren't great at the start of the season, but we were still in games, we were still playing the Ange way. We've gone so far away from that now that I don't think that those players are remotely playing for him. And I don't even see what is Ange ball now. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if the stat still stands, but I know a few weeks ago, barring the game where you got turned over by Liverpool, all your losses have been by 1 goal.
But that's what I mean, we're still in games.
Yeah, so there is something concerning in terms of the mentality. I feel like when you're in the games, why can't you get it over the line? Why can't you salvage a point? Why can't you go and turn games around?
But that Spurs, we just haven't seen it. That comes back to, again, the system the manager plays. There have been many games where we're winning and leading comfortably, but then we go on to throw the result away. I remember Brighton. I remember that. Brighton sticks to mind. And there have been so many times like that where the game management is very poor from Ange.
Just going back to your point there, Rad, because what you said, sacking him is only half the job.
Yeah.
Right? So getting rid of him, fine. That's an easy decision. The next decision is who do you bring in? And where do you go from there? So there's that. It's a difficult one because what's the next move? How do you play? Look what Man United have done with Amorim, right? They sacked Ten Hag, fine. Let's bring in a manager of his mythology, the way that he wants to set teams. United have gone from a bad situation to a worse situation. It's tough to make that right call. And I get why you stuck with him, and I get why Levy's stuck with him. It's coming. Down the track, it's coming, right? But it's all about Europa League. As soon as we get the Europa League, we know he's a dead man walking now. When that happens, it's official.
Yeah.
Next season, make that call. Can't do it now. Who are you going to get? Can't bring Ryan Mason again.
No, I agree.
So that's where's the next move?
James, I don't like the argument in football because when Forest let go of Steve Cooper, they want to say, let's go get Nuno, who's going to get us top 4 football. When Jurgen Klopp announced he was leaving Liverpool, well, then Liverpool fans screaming saying they want Arne Slot. I get that, there's not a replacement that we all have in our minds. That's the job of Daniel Levy and the board to go and find a replacement.
This is exactly the problem. Think about it. We had since Poch got the sack nearly 6 years ago. We have had 6 managers.
Yeah.
Right? And if we're including Stellini, that little weird spell in that. I don't trust our board to do anything. Don't trust them to spend money. I don't trust them to recruit properly. I don't trust them to get a manager. If you look over the 24, 25 years of ENIC, how many managers have we had? 7, 16? Honestly, we have had so many managers. Every different type of manager, every different style of manager. We've had the progressive manager, we've had the project manager, we've had the Jose type of manager. We have had everything. So that's why I was very happy to stick with Ange, because I thought, well, I would rather just trust and have a bit of stability, because our most successful period under Poch or Redknapp or Yol came when we actually had a manager there for a longer period of time. But he is going to go. If he wins the Europa League, and let's be honest, that's a
right off into the sunset.
It's a real big if. He still has to go, right?
For me, it's right off into the sunset.
It's when you make that decision.
I understand it.
Because Iraola's not going to leave Bournemouth right now.
No.
So the decision has got to be made at the end of the season.
100%.
It has to be made, and it will be made, but
he will still have to go.
There's no point. I don't see the point in getting rid of Ange back in December. Where do you go? Who's available? That's the one. Who is available? Who's going to come in?
If you were to go for someone in the summer, who would you go for?
Well, I don't think you'll like what I'll say, but my preferred choice would always be to have Poch back. But
what is
maybe
this?
I'm a nostalgic kind of girl.
That Spurs fans have with Pochettino. I don't get it.
I would like to have,
and I love Poch. I love him. I saw him a few weeks ago.
Iraola. That's who I would have. I would have Iraola. But my first choice would always be to have Poch back.
Oh my days.
It's like going back.
No, we need to move forward, Abby.
It's not going back to your first boyfriend.
Yeah, literally. That's what it is.
The romanticised about how good I felt back then. He looked after me.
He did.
My first love, my first kiss.
I've never felt more in love with my club than I did under
I understand.
I know, but that relationship broke down for a reason.
Exactly.
You can't go back.
It's the same board that's in charge. It's the same board. It's the same board. Nothing's going to change.
But nothing's ever going to change. So we might as well just stick with this boyfriend.
Let me give you one.
You can't go back.
Thomas Frank.
Oh yeah, I've seen you say this. I'm not against it.
Think of the circumstances he's worked under at Brentford.
I get that.
With the smart budgeting, the smart recruitment, the tactical flexibility, the man management, the motivation skills, all the things we think Ange is, Thomas Frank already is. And he's given us the proof in the pudding. Kept Brentford up 6 years in a row, got them promoted, built a legacy there. And now I feel like he is almost like the perfect manager that's ready for that next step. And I'm like, brother, Ange, if you want to ride off into the sunset, don't worry. I already have the replacements lined up, brother.
There's 2 things. I think that the idea or the notion of Iraola is a fallacy. It's fugazi. It's not a real thing. We have seen Vincent Kompany get relegated with Burnley and get the Bayern Munich job. So Enzo Maresca in the Championship from Leicester get the Chelsea job. Iraola is destined for bigger things.
Yeah,
he
I
is.
agree.
He can stay at Bournemouth and go and get the Barcelona job in 2 years. That's the level of manager that he is. Thomas Frank, I think, is a great option for you because he's a man that, like you mentioned, has worked with a limited budget. He's a man that knows the Premier League, a man that's got a set system in the way he wants to play. I think it'd be great for you lot. But another thing you said is that if Ange to win the Europa League, you'd still want him to ride off to the sunset. I think if I was a Spurs fan, having taken a beating all season long, fans replaying the clip of him saying, I always win something in my second season. If he backs his chat and wins something in his second season, that is something to hang on to. That is something that you can use for next season.
I'm going to throw Ten Hag in the ring here. I'm going to throw Ten Hag.
This is a man who knows.
I'm going to throw Ten Hag in there because winning a cup, you can win a cup.
Yes.
Right? Roberto Martinez won the FA Cup with Wigan and took him down. All right? You can win a cup. All that does is mask what the big.
Absolutely.
It's the 38 games. That's where you judge a manager, in my opinion, on the 38 games. Cup games, yes, of course, Eddie Howe's doing a brilliant job, won the first trophy, but where's the league position? What are they doing? Still doing well in the league, but the Ten Hag one,
fair enough.
It's a red. That's a red
over
herring.
the cracks,
because
100%.
They felt duty bound to give him another contract or give him another year because he won the FA Cup. 6 months later, they're back in the same situation.
I totally agree. He wouldn't be. I wouldn't keep him now. I wouldn't keep him. I would say thank you so much. I wouldn't. Why do it? Like one day.
You delivered your promise. You delivered your promise.
This is the same as One Day Ramos, right? We would had a terrible league campaign.
So
ended
true.
up winning a trophy, and then we stuck with him, and then ended up getting Harry Redknapp.
That was actually
in
the
October,
last
November.
time we were this low on the table.
Well, maybe we will win it.
Yeah,
Maybe this is a good omen.
But the thing is, the difference
And
with
then
the
he
FA
can
Cup and the League Cup is that it doesn't deliver you Champions League football. And the difference between not being in the Champions League and being in the Champions League is absolutely huge for a club like Spurs. And so if a man, by hook or by crook, delivers you Champions League football, I think it would be insane to sack him. Like you mentioned, we can't settle on who you should bring in.
You have said to me,
Yeah.
just slightly off topic, you have said to me for months on talkSPORT Goals about Ange out.
Yeah.
So how can you sit here now and say to me?
Because football's a results-dependent business. Avram Grant was a penalty kick away from winning the Champions League. After that, I haven't seen him since. I haven't seen him since the Champions League final in 2008. Football's a results-dependent business. If you win trophies, I feel like it makes a huge difference, especially if you win a trophy that gets you into the Champions League.
Yeah.
I would be
Di
scared
Matteo
to
won the
see
Champions League.
Yeah, true.
Right? We give him a year's contract. And before Christmas, got the sack again. So cups are, they're brilliant. And yes, well, if he wins it...
We will build the statue,
right?
but he will have to go.
Right, but it's the 38 games in a league season where you go and play Chelsea on a Thursday night, and then you got the weekend on a Sunday. You got another. That's where you judge your manager. Cup games, Spurs. Here's the mad thing: the way Spurs play, you can't. I don't think you'll ever win a league like that, but you can win a cup because you'll get lucky. The way you might get all you need, right? I was saying to you earlier. You got 5 games left, where you got two. Yeah, got 5 games left. You can play well in 3.5 of those and win a cup. You can do that. That is because he's the way that he plays. I don't see it, but potentially he can win a couple. In the league, the way he plays, the system, everything's set up for that club.
Never going to work.
It ain't going to work.
All right, let's park Spurs for a bit. We'll come back.
Quite enjoying that.
I
don't know. I don't know.
Well, we're going to move on to Chelsea. It's not much better, is it? It's not much better.
We're full tabs.
Oh, well, you did win last night. You are back in the top 4. Have you turned a bit of a corner?
No, because I still remember the Arsenal game before the international break. I've said it on multiple shows on talkSPORT that I am not convinced by Enzo Maresca fully. But again, I can't sit here and say football's a results-dependent business and you should keep Ange if you win the Europa League and say that if Maresca gets us into the top 4 or top 5 in Champions League football, he doesn't deserve another season at the football club. You need to get results, and that's what he's doing to an extent. Obviously, a bulk of our points came in a certain period of the season, and after the Spurs game, where we beat you at your place, surprise, surprise, we went on a bit of a downward spiral. It coincided with the birth of my son. I blame him for the reason why Chelsea are in this position right now. We were in the title race before Dash was born. But this is again, we've got 8 games to really solidify.
Did you just say you were in a title race? Is that what just came out your mouth?
According to some people.
Is that what just came out your mouth? Make sure that we clip that.
Little horse.
But yeah, I with Chelsea, the Chelsea that I grew up with, it was all about results. And so I'm not really fussed about the performances. I loved last night because it was one of those victories where it was hard fought and you had to earn it. And of course, Chelsea were a better side because Spurs are very poor, but it wasn't why we like blew away the opposition. So I think that Maresca's doing an okay job. It's par for the course right now. But if Chelsea don't finish in the top 4, top 5 and get Champions League football, then yeah, I think his job should be up at risk because at Chelsea we expect excellence, unlike other clubs.
Oh, shots fired. Shots fired.
Just nasty.
Sorry.
Just really nasty.
Sorry.
Well,
No, you're not. No, you're not.
At least this is a one-off.
Yeah.
This is a one-off. That is the first time that Chelsea actually won a match against a side sitting outside the relegation zone since beating West Ham months ago. Wow. So that just really shows you
where the two teams are, isn't it? Yeah.
Really where they're
Oh,
at.
look at the face.
Yeah, I know.
Look at the face.
You're winding me up.
But
Winding me
James, from
up.
your point of view, in terms of where we're at right now, obviously you've seen the great and the good, and also Chelsea being poor as well. Do you think that if Maresca gets into the top 4, and of course we have to win the Conference League because of the level of teams that competition, it will be a good season for Chelsea?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the glory, isn't it? It's about, if we do, look, we should win the conference. We're on a hiding to nothing there because if we don't win it, we're going to get battered because you should win it because the money you spent. If we do win it, everyone's going to go, well, of course you're going to win it because you spent billions. Yeah. So we're in that situation where we have to win it. It's not guaranteed, by the way. Cup competitions, there's some decent sides in there, but look, we've all seen Wigan beat.
Yeah.
So knockout competition. For me, it's all about the top 4, top 5. I think we'll finish 6th. I don't think we're good enough to finish. So look, it's results. We got Brentford at the weekend. That's I don't think if we can go there and beat Brentford. We never played well.
Newcastle as well. You got
we got some. We got
yeah.
Liverpool at home. We got United at home. We got Forest away. We got Newcastle away.
Newcastle away. Yeah.
Newcastle. So we got some tough games.
Yeah.
But what also is on there is the Club World Cup. So we're talking about whether Maresca's going to stay. I go, we're 4th right now. I don't quite know how we are, but we're above City, and as the show's being made. But the Club World Cup, nothing's going to change. You're not going to get rid of Maresca between now and the Club World Cup. And then I don't see anything changing between now and the next season. So for me, Maresca stays no matter what happens. Okay. Right? Whether we win the Conference League or not, whether we finish 6th or wherever we finish, Maresca stays. I don't see that changing.
Is it a bad thing that you could actually have a bit of stability and keep that manager? I know that you had at the back end of last season a little bit of a purple patch under Pochettino, and then
Finished
obviously,
strong.
you finished strong, and then obviously you let him go and bought in Maresca. But we were talking before we started the show about maybe last night his in-game management that was improved. You saw something you liked, Jay.
I have to say, I think Kwaku touched on it. Yeah, he made changes at the end. He decided, we all knew there was going to be added time. We didn't know how much. 12 minutes was added. He played 13, Pawson, in the end. And he made a sub. I thought it was earlier, but Kwaku said it was about the 90th minute, and it was. He brought on Tosin, went to a back 5, and we basically said to Spurs, right, you're going to have the ball. We're not going to leave you space in behind, not going to allow you to counter. And it's the first time I've seen Maresca make a big, bold decision that saying, I'm now going to change tactic the way I set up. I've got Neto down the middle, so I've still got that threat of the pace over the top. I thought we dealt with it really well. And Maresca, for me, showed a different way of managing this Chelsea team. We are guilty at times of being a bit naive in-game. And, we allow teams... That late goals we conceded, your lot, we 4-2 up, you get to make it 4-3 late on. We conceded a late goal against Bournemouth at home, Fulham, Leicester away. Late goals we conceded, right? Last night, I felt that was a bit of a maturity about Maresca, and I was really pleased to see that he's gone, here I'm going to do, I'm going to be stubborn, sit in, break us down if you can. And it turned out that it was a bold decision. 12 minutes of added time, by the way. That's a lot. 13 was played in the end.
I think that was actually good for him and something that he's been needing to do for the past couple of months, because I felt like up until December, his system was working fluidly.
Yeah. We weren't great, we weren't brilliant. The results were better than the performances, but we were getting over the line.
Absolutely, but then I feel like post-December, teams almost just started to figure out what you were doing, and he just didn't tweak. And I think the one impressive thing I've seen from Arne Slot, for example, is he's managed to play the same system, game in, game out, but there's always tweaks within the game, and I think that in-game management can just make a huge difference, and especially towards the back end of the season.
Also putting Gusto on as well last night kind of helped you guys in the field, allowed you to be a bit
bringing in
more
Reece as well, off the
Yeah.
bench.
Management.
Definitely was outclassed tactically, weren't we? Let's talk about Moises Caicedo. 100% long balls against Spurs last night, 100% tackles won, 8 out of 9 ground duels won, and 90% pass accuracy. God, it must be nice to have a
Almost
midfielder
scored a
like that.
cracker as well.
Yeah, he did, almost.
He's the real deal, this kid. No doubt about it. Look, a lot of money. His first game, I remember, was West Ham away, gave a penalty away, he was way off it. This kid he's one of the best in the business at what he does. He was outstanding last night, probably the best player on the pitch. No one mentions his price tag anymore.
Not anymore.
No one mentions it. And yeah, a lot of money, and Chelsea spend billions, but he is the heartbeat of Chelsea in that middle of the park. When if he went down injured right early on in the game, he got. I can't remember who it was. With Jed Spence, got a dead leg, and he managed to get through that. He'd be sore this morning, by the way. But I've got to tell you, without him in the middle of the park, I feel very vulnerable. He'll be Chelsea's player this season.
Yeah, I mean,
No question
Enzo
about
Maresca said that he is the best in the world.
He's in the conversation.
Yeah.
In that particular role, he's in the conversation. No doubt about it. The kid is the real deal.
Yeah, that's the heritage position for Chelsea. A lot of teams have heritage positions. When you think about Newcastle, think about the number 9. For Chelsea, it's that centre defensive midfielder, whether it's Makelele, Essien, John Obi Mikel, N'Golo Kante, and this Matic, and this is the next kid. He's absolutely incredible. And obviously the price tag is the price tag, but there's a reason why Jurgen Klopp, who's very conservative when it comes to transfers, spoke about Caicedo and said, yeah, the deal's happening, because I think he would have helped Liverpool win the league last season. He is that good. And like Jace mentioned, a lot of other players get the headlines. Obviously, you want to talk about Cole Palmer, you want to talk about Nicholas Jackson, but Caicedo is the fulcrum of the team, and he brings out the best out of other players. Enzo Fernandez is a player that I wasn't convinced by. I still see frailties in his game when it comes to physicality, but the fact that he plays alongside Caicedo brings out the best in him, allows him to be a lot more free, and his decision-making on the ball is just second to none. Always makes the right pass, always intercepts at the right time, got that nastiness as well. There's not a player in this Chelsea team that I love more than him in terms of what he brings to this team when it comes to bite and that fight and that nastiness.
I think that's one thing that definitely gets overlooked as well, his on-ball ability. I think the way he eats up space, defensively he's an absolute lockdown, but I think in terms of his passing, his range, I think technically he's very, very good as well. I was going to say, do you guys think he's performing at that level he was at Brighton now? Because I feel like at Brighton he was a top player. And then he came to Chelsea and obviously settling in, new club, price tag weighing heavy on him. It's taken a bit of time. But this season, the consistency he's got now, is he back at that level?
I think he is. And also, can you imagine what it must feel like for someone, it's not his native country, goes to Brighton, brilliantly, obviously one of the most courted players in the league. He goes from Brighton, then goes to Chelsea, over £1 million, 100 million. I can only imagine how that must feel.
The pressure of the price tag.
Can you imagine? And then you've got to live up to that. Now, he's comfortable in his own skin now about who he is as a footballer. And I totally agree with you. We're now looking those levels.
And it's even hard to live up to that price tag when you're in
you can't live up to
defensive
unless you're
positions.
Messi or Ronaldo.
Yeah.
But
if you're not scoring goals, it's hard to almost repay it back in tackles and interceptions. But some way, somehow, he is.
He's paying it back in abundance. And also, another player I just want to quickly highlight is another player who signed for Brighton, Marc Cucurella. And it's so easy when you're a player that plays like him, has got the hairstyle that he's got, to be...
And the housery as well.
Yeah, the housery. And every team play against, they hate Marc Cucurella.
Yeah.
But the turnaround in this player's form is absolutely incredible. Yeah. And we are seeing the Brighton Cucurella right now at Chelsea. He's been one of our most consistent performers this season. The Euros helped him massively.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, he's a winner on the international stage. He's showing you that he's one of the best left-backs in the country. And I was letting Chelsea wingers off, right? I was saying that in Maresca's system, he doesn't really have those fullbacks that bomb forward, and it doesn't really create those overlaps and those advantages for us in the wide areas. But Cucurella was providing that to Jadon Sancho, and Jadon Sancho wasn't performing. So I want to shout out Marc Cucurella because he's a player that's coming from so much criticism, but over the last 3, 4, 5 months, he's become a real leader in this Chelsea team and one of our best performers.
Okay, let's look at then the rest of your season ahead. Remaining fixtures: Brentford away, Ipswich, Fulham, Everton, Liverpool, Newcastle United, and Forest. Currently sitting fourth in the table. What do you think then, Jace? By the end of the season,
so the first 4 games you mentioned there. Give us the first 4.
Brentford away, Ipswich, Fulham, Everton.
Right, all winnable. All winnable. The next 4, tough.
Yes.
Yeah. So the next 4 games, if we are going to have any realistic chance of finishing the top 4 or 5, Got to beat Brentford. I don't think we will. I think it'll be a draw. Beat Ipswich. We should beat Ipswich. What's the other one said that won't be games?
Fulham and Everton.
Right, Fulham at home.
Away.
Fulham away. Tough game. But Fulham feels like their season's plateaued a little bit.
Nothing.
And Everton at home.
Still beat us.
I mean, you know, those 4 games. I think our season will just be not decided, but we'll have a clear indication once we get through those 4 games. If we can pick up 3 wins and a draw, we're in the box seat. We've got a chance. Lose any of those or drop more points in more than one game, I just feel that Newcastle.
I mean, there's a potential for 5th place to still get Champions League, isn't
Oh,
there?
no, it's almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's a race for top 5.
Almost guaranteed, yeah.
But you still think that you might.
I just feel that I mentioned earlier, Newcastle. I just feel that there's an energy and a zest about them right now that I think they're going to have a strong end to the season. I'm waiting for City, and City are just a bit meh. You know, you're waiting for that City to keep. Are they going to turn up? Are they going to? Don't really see. Even in the FA Cup against Bournemouth, you're still waiting for that performance. First half, they were terrible.
It's a real indictment on the league that City are still within a shout of getting Champions
Well,
League.
Haaland's out now, right, for the rest of the season. That's a miss. We'll see Mamouche, what he does. Yeah. I like the look of him, but in terms of Chelsea. I'm not totally convinced, but it wouldn't surprise me if we do either. It's tough. We're not convincing enough, are we?
We're not convincing enough, unfortunately, and I feel like the results in December, January will come back to bite us. We shouldn't have lost against Fulham, the position that we were in that game. And there's
bad defeat, that.
The loss against Ipswich was very, very poor as well. The draw against Palace. There's been so many results where you've looked at it and said, we should be a lot higher than we should be in a similar amount of points as Nottingham Forest. Yeah. I still do think there's potential for Forest to be caught. I know they're on 57 points right now, Chelsea on 52, but there is I think when you're a team that gives up so much possession, if things aren't clicking and going your way, you get an injury to a key player, you can go on a 4 or 5 game skid. And I think there's still potential for that. Maybe I'm living in yesteryear where Forest weren't the team they are this year.
It's a different team, man. It's a different team.
But I do look at this Chelsea side and we've got a great chance. If you look at the sides below us, City, like Jace mentioned, aren't great. Newcastle are the ones I'm worried about. I think Villa will be distracted by the Champions League. I think Villa, they've got their sights set on domestic competition, the FA Cup and the Champions League. So I think they might fall off or tail off in the league. But we're in pole position right now. We are 4th with 8 games to go. There's no reason why we can't do it. It's the last 4 games against Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, United at home, and Forest away.
So where are you going to finish? Great.
5th.
Okay.
So Champions League.
Right, let's just, before we wrap up, let's just quickly, unfortunately, go back to Spurs.
We have to.
Trying to avoid Spurs on Inside Spurs.
Go you want, Ash. Go you want.
Let's just go back there and talk about the Europa League. It's a massive, I mean, I'm not being funny. Our whole season depends on Thursday night, doesn't it?
I mean, Eintracht Frankfurt as well aren't exactly slouches. The thing with Spurs in Europe is you look at our European record over the last couple of years. We've gone out to NS Mora, Dinamo Zagreb, who had a manager in jail.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. Dortmund absolutely spanking us, Bayern Munich absolutely embarrassing us. Like, our European journeys have been memorable for all the wrong reasons. And and do you know what's so funny? When we lost the first leg in Alkmaar, I was like, oh, here it inevitably comes. We get through the second leg, and I'm like, Ekitike is going to make his summer move in this fixture. I just have a sneaky feeling. So I haven't got my hopes the highest, but if there is any hope, dear Lord, I beg you.
If
there is any God, I just please.
It's more hopeful and wishful thinking than actual belief.
We're just waiting for the car crash, aren't we?
The car's crashed,
We're just waiting.
You know what?
No, it's
Two
not.
tyres punctured.
No, you're okay. You're in the middle lane. We're just waiting.
Imagine, right, your whole season banks on you winning a trophy. A team that doesn't win trophies. That's all we've got. That's all we have.
But imagine the feeling, Abs. And again, I'm a Chelsea fan.
Why are you doing this?
Why are you doing this?
It's the hope that kills you. And he's about to sell us some serious hope right now.
Sell it to me, Phil.
It's the hope that kills you, right?
Give us your best pep talk, go on.
And imagine, you've been memed, you've been beaten down all season long. It's who we are, mate. I always win something in my second season. It's who we are, mate. I feel like I'm a sports bar right now. Imagine if after all of that, Ange wins you the Europa League and backs his chat, that street party in North London is going to hit.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
When does it go away?
Why are you doing this?
Quicker, if it happens, you're invited. That's all I'm going to say. You're invited.
He will not be seen.
I just can't wait for that night on the sports bar when O'Hara gets it again.
Has anyone seen me? Well, imagine if we did go and win it, then who would...
Look, I'll be the first to congratulate. So well done. Look, it's all about the glory, but history.
To dare is to do. Dare is to do, mate.
To dare is to do nothing.
Well, that is probably the story of our entire season. Just quickly with Archie Gray, because it always annoys me that he's now not starting games. I think he's been one of our best players this season, to be fair. I mean, few and far to choose from, really. But does it not irritate you as well that he's not starting midfield? Would you not like to see him
I think
in there?
he's the most natural player we've got in that position. I see some Spurs fans talking about maybe signing a defensive midfielder in the summer. He is someone who I think is primed for that role. Technically very good. Physically plays well above his age as well. The maturity and composure he plays with. Bentancur, he's shown physically you can't rely on him. Basuma, arguably the most inconsistent player ever. He'll probably be gone in the summer. But, I mean, he's played 12 minutes this entire season in midfield. And he's played pretty much in every other defensive position, covering. And to be fair, I think he's done a brilliant job. But next season, I really hope he is the guy who's given the keys to that midfield. Him and Bergvall have shown for me this season that they can be trusted despite their age.
But that should really be, for me, that should be the partnership. I don't really understand what we waste time for with the Basuma. I actually quite like Sarr in terms of the legs and
I think Sarr provides something
he can bring. But Basuma, that's been done for me since he got sent off at Luton last season.
Saudi, Al Hilal, Al Ittihad, whoever you are, please come.
Fly free. But that has to be the partnership for me. And also that surely would help Spurs defensively as well, having Archie there as a six, just giving you that extra bit of cover. I can't understand why in a game like last night, Ange didn't do that.
It's weird, and I feel like the way he's kind of managed all the youngsters throughout the season, even Bergvall, he was slow to break him in. Odegaard, obviously, he got unlucky with his injury, but I just don't think Ange has really managed the squad all that great, in my opinion, and this is just another one of those things where I'm just like, it is what it is.
I mean, Bergvall is such a player as well. I mean, he will not be...
I'm a fan.
He won't be sitting around for too long, will he?
Serious.
The future of those two in the middle of the park looks bright. Yeah.
It's just odd to me that we're not going to try and do that now. What are we waiting for? You've seen Archie Gray play all season.
Well, I think you're looking at a manager that's looking for results, and he's gone experienced players. It's sometimes the
experienced players that have let him down so far.
Yeah, but in big games like last night, he's gone with who's the one that's been in this situation more often than not. But we will see.
All right, just finally before I let you all go, on Son, where are we at with Heung-min Son?
As I said, Al Ittihad, Al Hilal. We have players on offer for you this summer. Saudi Pro League. Buy one, get one free if you like. We'll throw in a Richarlison as well. But no, honestly, I think last year when we moved him to that number 9 position, we managed to squeeze a little bit more juice out of him. I think Son Heung-min on the left wing in 2025 is cruelty to the elderly, in my opinion.
He's lost his powers.
He doesn't have that explosiveness.
He has been outstanding. He's been, for large parts, he's been one of the most consistent players in the league on that left-hand side. He's lost his powers, and it happens to everyone. Right? The decline now it's right in front of your face.
But you know who your owner is, right? So commercially, does it make sense to get rid of Heung-min Son? Where you going pre-season tours? So I think he stays at Spurs for another season just because he makes you so much.
And that is a damning indictment on the club.
Well, guys, it's been great. Thank you so much for joining us. That is it for a special episode of Inside Spurs versus Inside Chelsea. The blue side of the desk will be back in just a few days on Monday to look back on the Brentford game. Hopefully they lose. And we'll be back for Inside Spurs after the first leg of our Europa League quarter final, which hopefully we win. Thank you very much for your company, and thanks to Fuad, James and Kwaku. See you next time.